All right, it is Friday, and as you know, we do a Friday financial news wrap up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much for doing this. It's always a good time and allows me to look at the entire week versus looking day to day. So thank you so much.
I love it. I love it. You're looking especially sharp. So I want to just acknowledge you for looking so sharp. The studio every week gets better. Your camera quality gets better.
We're trying.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you know anybody at CNN, at Fox News, at MSN, at the local, even the local, your local news channels, if you have friends or family or have connections there, send them this link so they can see how great Michael is. We need Michael to get out there on a national news level. We'd really appreciate your support. So,
oh, wow. Thank you for that.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So today is May the 20th, 2022. Retail sales. What happened this week?
Yeah, so retail sales are interesting. If you follow my channel, my story, you know, as somebody who studied economics, I have chosen to focus on the consumer. They're the biggest part of the economy. They're both my competition and my customer. So I've always tried to figure out what's going on there. So we got a retail sales number on Tuesday, which came in a slightly better than expected. But more so, again, I think what that means is we will not have confirmation of a recession. Right. A lot of people are talking about Q1 negative 1.4% GDP would be validated in Q2. I don't think so. So it will not be the start of an official recession. More importantly, from there, we actually got individual earnings report. Walmart and Target, horrible. We are starting to see the impact of inflation, right? Walmart consumers are trading down, right? They're going from name brand to off brand. They are buying less discretionary items. You are seeing the bottom end of like the K-shaped recovery that we've always talked about, the bottom end of the K being truly, truly crushed by higher gas, higher food. It is not fun to see and likely gets worse from here. Target, they are starting to highlight that kind of they're seeing a bifurcation, right? There's this top end of the K. I call it the K-shaped summer is what I'm trying to call it. The K-shaped summer is people are not buying cardboard boxes from Amazon and Etsy. They are instead buying luggage from Target. Why are they buying luggage? Because they're getting their ass on a plane and going traveling, right? They're getting experiences. They're going to this, they're going to that. So it is, people are pretty fed up of being cooped up. So again, though, the consumer is getting stretched. We got numbers from Home Depot and Lowe's, which is very important for real estate. The numbers were okay, right? When you put them together, Home Depot is better than Lowe's. But in general, people are spending on experiences, not stuff. And it's exactly what I thought would happen. And again, you can go back on my channel and hear me talk about experiences, not stuff. Way back before Amazon reported their ugly number, we were talking about it. So it's still happening. The K-shaped summer. If you have money, you have assets, you are going to go party. And if you don't, you're going to start whacking discretionary items, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's happening in real time.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So let's talk about existing home sales. What did you see this week there?
Yeah, so existing home sales are operating exactly how I said it would happen. People need to look behind the numbers. They need to listen to what I'm saying. If you hear my story, I say there's a housing crash coming. The crash is in transactions. We will not have a crash in price. It doesn't move that fast. These are all 2022 discussions. I am convinced we will see 20 to 25% crash in transactions. So what did we see? It just got reported. I think it was reported Thursday. First and foremost, price. People are talking about a crash in prices. These are April numbers. Nationally speaking, price was up 14.8%. Now, you got to remember with existing home sales, these are actually closed contracts. So these were most of them signed in February before interest rates went up. So I expect prices to come down or value increases to come down. I expect the end of the year of December, somewhere about 4%, maybe 5%. We will certainly not be in double digits. It is going down from here. Next, inventory. Inventory is going up. We bottomed at just over 900,000. We are now over 1 million. And this is going up, up, up. Transactions. Transactions were down 2.4% month on month. Now 5.61. We did 6.3 existing home sales last year. I think, Ty, we do like 4.7 or 4.8. So these are going down, down, down. We are down 5.9% year on year, and that's going to get worse. All cash buyers, 25%. Cash buyers are still going to play. We are not motivated by interest rate. It doesn't matter. So cash buyers will be there. Investors, 17% of the market. Investors, if they're following one rental at a time, are getting great deals from motivated sellers. The person that's getting crushed in this market are first-time home buyers for two reasons, and you have to understand both. First, the numbers say that the average market first-time buyers make up 40%. If you watch my channel, you know I said the Fed broke housing. Here's your proof. In April, only 18% of were first-time buyers. That's a huge drop. Why did that happen? Two reasons. First and foremost, first-time buyers are crushed by the sudden rise in interest rates. That is true demand destruction. But what is not being reported is the inventory of first-time homes is not coming on the market. The volume of properties below 250 grand, they call it 100 to 250, fell 18%. Why you're not seeing that? Because you're not moving up. I had a mortgage guy on my channel Wednesday. We did a real life example of somebody trading up, selling their first home and buying a next home. Their payment would go up 300%. Their payment would go from 2 grand to over 6 grand. Nobody is going to make that financial decision for one bedroom. They will buy bunk beds. It's not happening, folks. The move-up market is dead. First-time home buyers are in trouble. No inventory, no new coming, demand destruction with higher rates. Very, very bad. And again, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, I've been telling you for a while, transactions are going down.
You've been spot on. I mean, we've been talking about this for months and months. I was sharing this with you, I think, pre-roll last week, but just looking at buy boxes, I'm seeing days on market double and triple, going from 7 to 25, 30 days. I'm also seeing price reductions, which is wild. And so big price reductions. So definitely a lot of changes, Everything we've been talking about, it's coming. So let's talk about mortgage apps specifically, mortgage applications. What do you see?
So again, something we have been calling, and I don't know, it feels good to be right, obviously, but I also know that there's other people on the other side of this. So one thing you can go back and watch my channel is I called more refinances. I called this 6 months ago. I said refinances would be down ultimately 75% or more. Well, it happened this week. It actually hit 76%. Right. That's just, and again, that's a lot of volume, right? Also, purchases were down 11%. We are seeing true demand destruction and supply destruction at the same time. The Fed broke housing. All the numbers I just talked about are going to get worse. Prices will come down, but not go negative. Inventory will go up. Days on market will go up. Transactions will crash. The Fed broke housing. It will take years for the market to go back to normal.
Very interesting. Adrian was on a different interview this week. My partner, Adrian Hernandez, and obviously a participant with you on, I believe, on Wednesdays.
Yep.
But one of the things he talked about is that all of a sudden they had this huge spike in job applications this week. And all of a sudden he saw a pattern like, wait a minute, these are all mortgage people, all mortgage originators, loan officers that got laid off last week or in the last few weeks that are now looking to still stay in the industry. So a very, very interesting time for sure. Let's talk about the recession. We've talked a little bit about that lately.
Yeah.
We've talked about it over the last several months. What do you see with regards to a recession?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about recession and stagflation because they go kind of hand in hand.
Please.
A lot of people are in a rush to call a recession. Why would that be? Well, the fact is, the sooner you have a recession, the sooner it's over. It's just logical. So there's a lot of people that are frankly hoping we're in a recession now, because if we're in a recession now, they think that Powell will stop raising rates and he'll bail out the market. That's what people hope for. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think we have too much forward momentum. I think we have true wage inflation. I think retail sales validated that. I think we're going to go this entire year in a stagflation environment. More importantly, you can go back to my channel. I have a playlist called Whiteboard. I did a whole whiteboard of what I see 2022 and 2023 being. And I did this months ago. And I still see it this way. We are having stagflation this year. What is interesting is Janet Yellen, Mohamed El-Arian, Stephen Roach, all these other big economic gurus and teachers, frankly, in Stephen's case, are saying we're going to have a year of stagflation. And I'm like, yes, I called it 3 months ago. So what does this mean for the Fed? Well, the Fed, in my world, it means the Fed keeps raising. The Fed is going to keep raising because stagflation means high inflation, low growth, but not negative growth. So they're going to have to keep raising. I think we're going to get to 3% funds rate by the end of the year and 4% by next summer before we have an actual recession. And unfortunately, the longer you kick the recession down the can, the deeper and darker it is going to be. So I don't have a lot of good news. I hope we have a recession earlier because that means it could be shorter and shallower. I think this thing is going to be deeper and darker. I think we see the next leg in wage inflation shortly, and the Fed's behind. The Fed's being weak, and we need to Paul Volcker this thing, or it's going to get out of control.
Spot on, spot on. Real quick, just for the listener, one more time in very simple terms: stagflation.
High inflation, low growth. So think 8.3% inflation, which was CPI. Think growth below trend, which is 2%. Right. So you have 8% inflation, 2% growth. When you do the math, that's actually -6 real growth versus nominal 2%. So
got it. And that's pretty much what we've been in, is what you described that this year is stagflation.
That is my belief, yes.
And that it'll continue.
Correct.
But some people, headlines may say that some people may think that we're in a recession.
Everybody wants to call a recession right now, probably for good reasons, right? The sooner you have a recession, the sooner we get out of it. I get it. A lot of people want to buy the dip and they're in a lot of pain. I get it. I just don't honestly see it. I think Q2 is going to be kind of 2.1% positive GDP, which will not give you the 2 quarters of confirmation.
And so too, just so that you and I have talked about this before on previous, maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, we talked about it. You believe that the recession's probably sometime in the first or second quarter of 23.
I think it'll be Q2, Q3, or Q3, Q4 of next year.
Correct. Got it. And so one last thing. Paul Volcker, I know what that means. I think some people do. Just explain who that man is in history and what he means.
Yeah. So Paul Volcker, if you haven't looked him up, you should, especially if you're in the investing game. He had Jerome Powell's job back in the early 80s. I think it was 78 is when he took over. And he took over for a gentleman named Arthur Burns. Arthur Burns is called the Great Inflation. Arthur Burns created the 70s inflation. Paul Volcker beat it. But how did he beat it? He jacked up the funds rate, not by 50 points, not by 75, but by 100 basis points. And he took the Fed funds rate not to 1, not to 2, not to 3. He took it as high as 20. So when your mom and dad, or maybe your grandparents, talk about a savings account getting 12%, that's Paul Volcker. And Paul Volcker caused a recession. And actually, Paul Volcker caused a double dip recession. It was painful, but Paul Volcker broke inflation. So when I say we need to Paul Volcker this thing, the Fed needs to get aggressive. They need to stop coddling Wall Street. They need to kick Wall Street in the balls and raise rates fast. And I don't think they will.
Yep. And I completely agree with you, Michael. And one of the things too, again, for the listener, to take this news today and really translate it. What does this mean to you? What are the adjustments in your business? Number one. And not only that, but how do you prepare for opportunity? How do you anticipate? So when Michael talks about this, what I hear is we're probably going to see increased interest rates, and we're going to see this pattern of rates going up. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Seller financing is going to be much more attractive. When I'm out talking to a seller, what does this mean? Days on market. Houses are going to be sitting there on the market, not selling. So guess what? I'm going to have a bag of solutions and tools subject to seller financing, innovation, whatever the case may be. I'm going to have tools and solutions. I'm going to be looking for those opportunities. Speak to the audience about opportunity, Michael.
Yeah. So a couple of things, right? So again, recessions, bear markets are very painful for lots of people, except for investors who are prepared. I've been telling my channel for the last month or two to get ready. We are no longer doing good deals. We are only doing great deals. because I want everybody to take advantage about what's coming. Motivated sellers have been impossible to find for 2 years. They will not be impossible to find going forward. Lots of buyers, as we just talked about, are out of the market because they cannot buy. In order to be demand, you not only have to be willing, you have to be able. And there are a lot of people that want a home that can't. It's too expensive. They don't qualify. So again, investors that are ready with solutions matter. I expect to do more seller finance deals, either firsts or seconds, in the next 2 years than I did in the last 5 years. And I did some. You, Ty, are adding a bonus section to my course, which I can't wait to add around pre-foreclosures. There's something in my whiteboard about 2023. I think unemployment could double or triple. What does that mean? Unfortunately, that means we're going to have some pre-foreclosures. So the fact that you're willing to add a free bonus section to my course that is just like top of mind and dead on is awesome. So not to add pressure, but I look forward to adding that course.
I love it. I love it. Well, there you go, folks. So a couple things. If you have the books, please go on to Amazon, give the man a review, 5-star review. You've got them here, one rental at a time. Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires. You can find those on Amazon. I would encourage everybody to get involved with Michael's course. It's phenomenal. How much are you charging, Michael?
I'm only charging $319. It's crazy.
Yeah, $319. You can't do anything with anyone for $319. And not only that, like Michael said, I'm putting together a pre-foreclosure portion where we talk about where to find the leads, how to talk to the leads, what to say to the leads, what not to say to the leads, and even a little bit deeper of how do you transaction engineer? How do you structure a creative deal, a hybrid deal, a sub-2 deal, a novation deal? How do you put all those together? So all of that is going to be a part of the course's bonus material. In addition, Michael teaches you how to go out and actually look at your market. If you can imagine what Michael does on Fridays in this course, you can do in a micro level of being able to look at your local zip codes, your local buy box, and say, the market's changing. Here's what's going on in my market. Here are the opportunities. Yeah.
And I have a private Facebook group that is absolutely free, which I could easily charge for, but I won't. That comes with the course. And you see it, you're a member. All the wins and all the oh my God, he's right. It is slowing down. My buy box doubled. I saw a price drop. I got a great deal. It is so, I get more thrill out of seeing my students win than getting another deal. I've got enough, but helping them get going is amazing. It's so awesome. Yeah, I love it. Michael, thank you for all that you share. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you, Michael. Take care, buddy.